Now look at what we've got parked on this runway. Obviously, 2 Boeing 757s. Except that's obviously not true. Well, yes, this is of course the Boeing 757 indeed. Right next to it is its long-lost Russian doppelganger, the Tupolev Tu-204. Yes, and these planes genuinely couldn't be more similar. I mean, yes, the Boeing 757 was first to enter service in 1983, while the Tupolev Tu-204 entered service only in 1996, 13 years later. They share very much the same features, which is why you could maybe consider the Tupolev Tu-204 a fake 757. After all, we've got nearly the exact same wingspan. While there are different versions of each plane, like the longer 757-300 or the Tupolev Tu-204-200, which is a lot of twos. Actually, this is the 300. The 200 is actually 6 meters longer. I don't know why they would make the 300 shorter, but the 200 long, it makes no sense. But other than that, they share the same length, and in some configurations, they share the same engines as well. Yes, the Tupolev Tu-204 was offered in the Rolls-Royce RB211 variant, which is the same engine the 757 also has. And well, yes, of course, these two planes, they both use Jet A fuel. You thought the Tupolev Tu-204 fuels with vodka. That's not right. Yeah, these are very much the same plane. There's only one key difference, and it's how successful they were. The 757 was built over 1,000 times, whereas the Tupolev Tu-204 was only built 89 times. So today, let's do a comparison. What are the differences between these two aircraft, and what airplane did what better? And of course, there's no better place to find that out than on this airport. We're at Friedrichshafen, which is where I'm gonna be in 2 months, and I hope you are too, because it's finally time for us all to go to the legendary Aero of Friedrichshafen, indeed the biggest aviation expo in Germany. I will definitely be attending all days from the 22nd to the 25th of April, so make sure to come say hello, but not only to me, but also to the 12th exhibit hall at the expo. 756 exhibitors will be there, including flight schools, airplane manufacturers, and lots of flight simulation stuff as well. Join me and other 32,000 annual visitors and experience the magic of flying from the 22nd to the 25th of April. Indeed, get your tickets in the link below. Now, we figured that the two almost identical airplanes look quite identical from the outside, but what about the inside? Now, you wouldn't really be able to guess which cabin is which aircraft. This is what the Tupolev looks like. You can maybe tell that by the exit sign being in Russian, but other than that, there of course really isn't a difference. This is the 757. Both are planes, passengers are not able to tell a single thing. Seat capacity is also pretty much the same, with round about 200 people being able to sit in both planes. But of course, the biggest difference is when you step forward into the cockpit. We all know what the 757 cockpit looks like. We've got very brownish colors, got great avionics, great glass cockpit, which for the early 80s was quite revolutionary, of course. Something else that's quite revolutionary about this airplane is, of course, that you only needed 2 people to sit in it. No flight engineer was needed. Now, this is the cockpit of the Tupolev Tu-204, which, the problem is this add-on is centuries old and gives us just a rough estimate of what the cockpit could have been like functionality-wise. Now, I will have to say, while this does look a little bit like a medical device, this whole cockpit, it does look a little bit cleaner, doesn't it? There's a bit of a futuristicness to this. Oh god, the colors are absolutely ugly, but this seems like quite a nice aircraft, I must say. I mean, I'm glad it doesn't look something like this, the Tupolev Tu-144 flight engineer panel, but the 204 still had a problem that you needed an extra flight engineer on board in some configurations, which, I mean, look at this small panel, almost looks a little bit redundant. But I will say though, this is definitely not as bad as I expected and looks quite modern. Let's go give in some power, and this is where it gets interesting. The 757 is known as the Ferrari of the sky, having quite excessive performance, something that the Tupolev Tu-204 should have to compete with now. So let's go full power. Now, this right here is the version with the Russian engine. Once again, they made 2. This is the Aviation PS90. Let's see if this airplane can get off the ground while weighing 84 tons, just as quickly as the 757 would be able to do. Now, this, of course, isn't a great, aerodynamic simulation. But there we go. We've taken off And we are revealing that we've got a quite nice looking, like sort of tilted landing gear, like a bogey that's tilted forward. Not bad at all, but there we go. Let's do a performance comparison. The Tupolev Tu-204 took off pretty much at this distance marker here. Let's see what the 757 is like, weighing the same weight, also 84 tons. God, these airplanes are so similar. But I once again will say, look, we've got a, gauge airspeed indicator, so I think these planes actually do have the same performance pretty much as well. So we're approaching this marker right here, and we're able to take off a little bit more runway needed on the Boeing 757, but these planes basically are no different. Something I will say is that the landing gear of the 757 is of course nicer. We've got the nice backward bogey tilt. As if that does any difference. And so now these two airplanes are climbing with the same climb performance to the same ceiling altitude to 40,000 feet. To the same speed. Both planes cruised at around Mach 0.8. No difference. Now, something you can definitely tell when you fly this plane is that these are very Western looking avionics. At least in this version, there's actually Russian and foreign avionics versions. So like, the thing about the Tupolev, with its 4 different versions, they're so different. There's also the Tupolev Tu-204 SM, that's a lot more modern. It's a weirdly fragmented product. I guess that's where we come to the problem. Oh, the Tupolev Tu-204. Why were only 84 built? Well, the cool thing about the Boeing 757 is that it's basically the same as flying the bigger Boeing 767 for the pilots. So that's very cheap for airlines to have both in their fleet, just like Delta does. So I think what is interesting is that both planes are quite similar in terms of like quality, right? But the Boeing, of course, was a lot more economically sensible, though actually the Tupolev Tu-204 was significantly cheaper, $32 million, whereas the 757 cost at least $60 million. So it's interesting, the Tupolev was a lot cheaper, but obviously not to operate, you needed 3 pilots, and the support network for maintenance and all that just wasn't as worldwidely spread as the 757. Also, I don't think any American airline would ever, seat their passengers in a Russian plane like this, especially in the 80s. So that makes sense. Let's go ahead and land now. I think there's something wrong with this runway. Doesn't matter. That was a bit of a hard landing right there. Let's go ahead and try to stop as quickly as possible. There we go. Of course, this airplane has reverse thrust. It has spoilers. There's literally nothing special about this plane. It's generally like the 757, which has now caught gear fire because we fully maxed out the brakes. Great. Of course, I'm pretty sure that there are political reasons why the only Western country to have this plane was Egypt, though there's generally nothing wrong with the Tupolev. It wasn't necessarily unsafe either. Yes, okay. There were a few incidents on the Tupolev Tu-204, and the 757 has a very, very, very good crash record, we must say. Both planes didn't have any inherent design flaws or anything. So yes, both do the same things, have the same purpose. While they don't really share any components, they do their job pretty equally well. Right, there you go, we've taken off now. But of course, how well a plane flies is not always just about the plane itself. So everybody, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night. And a special thanks goes out to my members, my supporters, Guns Killer, R27, James Duram, That Dude, Anime Gods of Gaming, Derek, Insider Plane, Nishijitsu Fanner, Professional Jamal, Ryland Williams, and New the York. You've got beautiful names.